Welcome to another cast by Gwyn and Rohans, that is GR StarCraft. We're going to have a PvP today between LzHQwerty and EGincontrol from Team Evil Geniuses. Of course, as you may have been following us, we have joined up with Team LZuruha, to cast a lot of their replays of their players. We're really excited to do so, and we're going to be showcasing QWERTY in this one, playing against EGincontrol. A little bit of friendly banter there about how QWERTY is still stuck in Platinum. The system has not quite promoted him yet. He just made this new account when he joined, Team LZuruha. But PvP, a great matchup. Why don't we jump right into that, Rohans?
Yeah, PvP on Zelnaga Caverns. For those of you who don't know and maybe a little new to StarCraft, this is probably the most popular StarCraft 2 map in the pool of most tournaments. It's been out since the beta. There's really not a lot of secrets, but it is a two-player map, so you can see some cheese from time to time. Where, especially in this matchup, where you know where your opponent is, so you can maybe proxy a gateway real early or something like that. But I'm really excited about the future of Protoss versus Protoss. For the longest time it was 4-gate versus 4-gate. Whoever did it better usually wins. But I feel like it's actually starting to adapt a little bit, and players are starting to find those timings of when they can expand, and certain timing pushes that don't involve just 4-gating, more gas-heavy builds. So we'll have to see what these two players do. So far, some pretty standard play with the assimilator and a gateway going down for each player.
We basically see a mirror build out of the players right now. One thing to note, I think one of the biggest changes in this matchup recently has been the patch which lengthened that time on Warp Gate. Obviously that type of change will, pretty drastically change a matchup, as it's actually faster to get to things like Dark Templars and get a robotics up with Warp Gate being slower.
Yeah, on bigger maps mainly, just speaking from personal experience, the Dark Templars, if you rush it correctly and kind of act like you're going to apply a little pressure, by the time those 4 gates get there, if it's a bigger map like I mentioned, you can actually squeak them out very easily. So those 40 seconds actually playing a really big deal in this matchup, and obviously I think it is affecting Protoss in other matches as well, or matchups I should say. We do have QWERTY taking a second gas, and he actually gas stealing EGincontrol, very smart. So he's going to basically force him into building some extra units to take that out, or possibly just going for a 4-gate. And if he gets his sentry count out and defends properly, this is a really good position for QWERTY to be in, because he's going to be able to tech harder with that extra gas.
I certainly agree, and you know what? This is, again, like you mentioned, a really good strategy because it limits the openings your opponent can do. EGincontrol, if he was going to go for a Dark Templar opening or even a robotics opening, he's gonna need that second gas, and QWERTY here has delayed it by probably at least 45 seconds, if not more. And that's the kind of change which, of course, can force your opponent into doing something like 4 warp gating, and it looks like that's exactly what we see EGincontrol doing. He's thrown down 2 more gateways. Is he going to throw down a third, which would make a total of 4? I would not be surprised, and the 4th one does go down.
Yeah, and QWERTY dropping 2 more of his own as well. Both players are actually pretty even on the warp gate research. They're both at about 110 seconds. So QWERTY taking that gas, but electing not now. He's finally putting some probes in there now. So we'll see what he's going to transition to in here. He could be going for delayed blink stalkers. I think if he was going to go for DTs, we would have already seen the Citadel down. So I'm not too sure if that's what he's going to do. I'm kind of curious to see what this plays out to. EGincontrol definitely going a 4-gate, putting a proxy pylon up there. So we're going to be seeing some pressure from him. We'll see how QWERTY deals with this.
Certainly, we do see EGincontrol poaching out across the map. I love this, pulling back a Stalker and a Zealot to hide that number, just putting that first Zealot and the probe up there. That scouting probe so important to be able to throw down that pylon. But QWERTY staying very safe in his base, not kind of pushing out. Got that sentry there with 1 force field, 2 force fields worth of energy. Does QWERTY see this? I'm actually curious. No, it does not look like. He does see the pylon now. He's going to go ahead and push forward. Got to take that out. He has to know the push is coming.
Yeah, EGincontrol a little sloppy right there, getting some free hits for QWERTY on those stalkers, but he does have a sentry up with, I believe, enough energy for 2 force fields. So if he, gets a good force field here, and he's got mostly ranged units, I don't know if EGincontrol is going to be able to break this ramp. We'll have to see. He's warping in. Excuse me.
A perfect force field at the bottom of the ramp there. That is exactly what QWERTY needs to hold this off. those force fields at the very bottom, denying any sight up the ramp, which would allow EGincontrol, of course, to warp in on the high ground. EGincontrol just going to go ahead and rebuild that pylon that he lost. And we do see, you know, a fourth gate in production for QWERTY. You know, definitely realizes he needs the units to be able to hold that off, and another great force field. Again, great position.
Yeah, he's handling this really well, actually, and EGincontrol's going to have no choice to fall back, and probably, yeah, actually he is, reading my mind here, dropping down an expansion, because at this point, he knows he's behind in tech. He's not sure what QWERTY's doing. He's playing very blind right now. QWERTY actually canceled his council when it was almost done. That's very interesting to me. He almost had it done, but maybe this pressure scared him a little bit, so he opted to cancel and add an extra gate. But he still is ahead in the tech tree, if you ask me. We'll have to see how he plays from here. I would imagine with this council, he's going to go aggressive Blink Stalkers and probably try to pressure this this expansion that I don't believe he knows is up yet.
Certainly. I mean, you know, EGincontrol, you know, expanding, he is going to have that expansion down before. That is, of course, whether, you know, only dependent on if QWERTY, rather, decides not to pressure. Looks like QWERTY going for a +1, going to be throwing down that blink as soon as he has the resources for it. There it goes down. You know, moving out for that expansion. If we look at the food counts, QWERTY definitely ahead in the food count. I believe that EGincontrol cut some probes initially to get those units out so early, and that potentially has cost him.
Yeah, he was doing a very standard 4-gate where you stop at around 20 to 22 probes, depending on the style of build that you do. He is actually he did chrono boost a couple more out now, and obviously this expansion is going to catch him up in a little bit here, I would imagine. QWERTY did elect to drop a photon cannon on the top of his ramp, so maybe he was fearing like a delayed DT or something. I'm not quite sure about that, but
I have seen some Protoss builds lately where they do open up, you know, with an aggressive 3 or a 4 gate and then follow it up with that Dark Shrine. Obviously, if you got the Twilight Council for either Zealot leg speed, which it looks like EGincontrol is doing, or for Blink, as QWERTY is doing, you know, a DT Shrine is just a building away.
Yeah, and we do have QWERTY moving out here, and Blink is complete, so we'll see if he can poke in here and do some damage. If he has good micro, he can actually really take advantage of these Zealots, and here we go, an engagement.
Of course, the Zealots do not have charge yet. It is about to finish so soon, and some good Blink micro out of QWERTY, pulling back and blinking away. Ooh, losing a Stalker, not quite, you know, the ideal move there, and I believe charge has finished the Zealots much faster, of course. EGincontrol, you know, just kind of hanging out here, needs to reinforce. He has his expansion up and running, but he has not gotten a full benefit from it yet. Really needs to get a little bit more mining time in, you know, before he can really take advantage of it.
I'd like to see him eventually invest in some Blink of his own, because if QWERTY keeps this style of army, you know, Blink Stalkers, he's actually throwing a couple sentries into the mix. Eventually, with good micro, it does beat the Zealot legs. You need to have some way to either pick off the hurt ones in the back with your Stalkers. We do have him moving in again, so he can actually throw some force fields out here and really limit the mobility of these Zealots if attacking his army.
We use some great force fields going down. That's going to cut off all the Zealots, and QWERTY in a commanding position, I would say, you know, having basically just pushed in, cut off all those Zealots, picked off some of that army. Now we're just going to pull back, reinforce, and like you said, I think that, you know, those Blink Stalkers, at this point, you know, a much better choice, of course, than the charge lots. But EGincontrol looks like he's getting some Templars out. I really am not sure if I like this decision to tech and expand so quickly. I feel like you kind of give up either army or tech, you know, or expanding. You know, you have to pick 2 of the 3, and he's tried to go for all 3 here, and I don't. It looks like QWERTY with some excellent Blink micro gonna be able to clean this up.
Yeah, really nice Blink micro by QWERTY there, just making the Zealots ineffective. He does have quite a few wounded Stalkers, but if he just can get those to the back, and wow, GG, well played from EGincontrol. Very nice Blink micro by QWERTY, and very nice force fields on that prior engagement.
Certainly, and I mean, although QWERTY's expansion was, you know, slower, of course, than EGincontrol's, you know, again, EGincontrol opted to try and tech for Templar very quickly. We see that, you know, Templar archives up. You know, he got some Templar out, got a Archon out. You know, Archon a great unit in this matchup, but unfortunately, not so good against lots of Blink Stalkers with +1.
Yeah, Blink Stalkers, in my opinion, and when you're sticking gateway armies, is the best route you can go. I mean, charge lots are great, but like I said, I really feel they're only great if you have Blink as well. You need to be able to blink your Stalkers and pick off those wounded ones in the back, because it's like fighting two armies when you don't.
I certainly agree. And with that, we're going to go ahead and bounce out of this game. Of course, look for us on, YouTube at LzRuha Media. That's the name of our YouTube channel. Additionally, you can check us out on Twitter at GR Starcraft. Just GR Starcraft, one word. This is Gwyn and Rohan signing out.